Hi guys, I'm in the shop working on the Toyota, but it's nice out, so I figure why not take a break, go do some exploring. We're going to hit up a local spot I know about. I believe this place was an old concrete mixing plant. It's not so much about the building though as it is what's inside. There's 3 old cars. I know there's an Austin, London taxi cab, an old Triumph, and the third one I really don't know what it is. I'm not real good with these cars from the 30s and 40s. So we'll check it out. If you guys know what it is, let me know. I figured since it is somewhat local, I'll drive the Datsun because that thing breaks down almost every time I take it out. Luckily, you can pretty much rebuild that thing with some vice grips and a 12mm wrench, so I'm not too scared. But I'll show you around that Datsun a little bit, tell you about it, and we'll hit the road. So here it is. It's a 71 Datsun 521, 1300cc 4-cylinder, 4-speed. I found this thing on Marketplace one morning. It was actually maybe 5-10 minutes from my house, so I kind of lucked out. Made it there in time before anybody else could. And it had been sitting for 30-40 years. It originally came from Atlanta, so it's in pretty good shape. It's pretty solid. But I got it running, tracked down a bunch of missing parts, cleaned it up, and I've been driving it for 2 summers now. Breaks down all the time. It's almost impossible to find parts for, but I love it. Inside, basically all stock. Cleaned it up as good as I could. Original AM radio, FM converter, 4-speed, and all the original paperwork. Even has the original Georgia inspection sticker that was never put on. Datsun matches. Original warranty card. So yeah, I lucked out on this thing. One of my favorite things on this truck, for some reason, as stupid as it is the hood prop. Just sets itself. Don't have to set it. There's the, probably, I'd be lucky if that thing has 50 horse left in it. 1300cc. I've had to replace pretty much any moving part on this thing. Tune up, new gas tank, all new fuel lines, brake lines. Has a kingpin front suspension, and they like to freeze up. Steering gets real stiff, and I'll have to jack the truck up, heat them, grease them a couple times a year. It's 4-wheel drum brakes, and they are super shady. 2 of them have leaking wheel cylinders. The other 2 like to lock up. So it doesn't steer good, doesn't stop good, doesn't run good, but it looks good, some would say. Some would not. Another cool thing on this truck, I don't know why more manufacturers never did this, but little factory door to get to the sending unit. And this second half of this wheel well here actually on bolts, and the evap canister and everything is inside there. But that's pretty much it, so let's hit the road. So before I even left the driveway, this thing stopped charging, battery's half dead, so I'll be running it with a jump box on it. So hopefully it's got enough juice in it. call the cops. Alright guys, I made it. Parked down the street. I'll walk the rest of the way in. This place is in the back of an active industrial park, so there is people around. The Datsun actually ran half decent other than that charging issue. It is a lot of footwork keeping this thing on the road. You hit the brakes, it just darts any direction it wants to. It wants to stall out. So luckily I got 3 legs and I was able to work all 3 pedals. So I made it inside. This place is pretty blown out. There's not a whole lot left here, but there is some cool stuff to see. We'll give you guys a look around and then we'll jump to them cars. Got an old conveyor, just kind of hanging out in the water. One of my favorite things about this building is just this random door left hanging on the side of this pillar. I don't know why, but I love it. And, got some sketchy stairs that we'll explore here in a few minutes. That giant opening used to be a hopper. There's a truck ramp on the outside. Trucks would back up to it, unload in that hopper, and it would funnel down into, I'm guessing, another truck or a conveyor down there at one point. So here's the good stuff, the stuff I came for. I know this is in Austin, an old London taxi cab of sorts. This is a Triumph. And the third one there, I'm really not sure what it is. I haven't been able to identify it. So maybe if you're watching this, you know what it is, comment. But let's get a look around these things. This one's been here a quick minute. Obviously it's right-hand drive, rear engine, engine no longer there. I think this is some sort of transmission. I could be wrong, judging by these 3 bands here, but maybe it's just a brake mechanism of sorts. I really don't know. And the body on this thing, complete body is all wood. And this was like a leather of sorts. Never really seen a leather wooden car, but I think that's what we have here. So if you know what it is, let me know. And the second one here is a Triumph. I really don't know these cars. So again, if you know what it is, comment and I will learn something. I think it is a V8 of sorts. A couple of side draft carbs, but I could not tell you much about it. I don't know these cars. So that brings us to what I think is the most interesting out of this bunch, this Austin right-hand drive taxi cab. Those fender mount mirrors are pretty sweet. Still has a taxi light. I think that's where the meter would have been. These cool mid-turns that are actually stamped England on them. Full-size back seat with the two jumper seats. Still has the price sheet for the taxi service. I'll get in a second, give you a better look. Something surprising to me about this was it was a diesel. I really couldn't tell you much more than that, but it rolled coal at some point. So if you recognize any of this, if you could tell me something about it, I'm always open to learn. So let me know. Inside here, a couple cool old gauges and switches and knobs and whatnot. Sitting in one of those rear facing jumper seats. There's still plenty of room in this thing. It's got suicide rear doors that are now seized shut. They're not budging. But yeah, this thing was pretty legit back in the day. So here's something if you're into exploring or if you're just a young kid out screwing around, don't be a jackass and bust up cool old stuff. Yeah, so that's the cars. Show you around the rest of this place real quick. Like I said, it's pretty blown out, but still a cool place to check out. So I'll make my way up these sketchy stairs and show you what's going on up there. We'll head up that way here in a second. I'll show you this side first. It just led up to that truck ramp I'd mentioned. And they would have fed into the hopper that is no longer here. It's all been cut out. So you can imagine when this is in operation, trucks would have backed up this ramp and dumped their loads into the hopper here, and whatever was down there waiting on it would get loaded up. Definitely need to watch your step. A little darker up here. You can hardly tell there's grates missing here and there. But basically just a big conveyor system up here. And it goes all the way back to the bottom of this building. Last time I came to the very top of this section here, there was a family of raccoons living in this big hopper machine, whatever this is, and they weren't real impressed to see me. Alright guys, that's about it for this place. Hopefully you enjoyed looking around, checking them cars out. If you know more than I do about them cars, definitely comment. I'd love to learn a little bit about them. That's really not my kind of thing, so I could have been wrong on a few things. But I'm running out of daylight, so I'm gonna make my way back to the Datsun and hopefully make it home without breaking down, but probably not.